Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Xenonauts 2 Early Access, Milestone 4. As today we get Phoenix on back. I would have done it last time, but we've got that alien ship zipping around out there, so I didn't want to take any chances. Aside from that, still waiting on payday, which should be less than 24 hours out at this point. And we have a fairly chunky new lore entry. The XDEF transcript, which further explores the origin of the cleaners. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious, so let's lead with a little lore. June 12th, 1994. Transcript of discussions with Secretary of Defense Benjamin R. Thomas, newly appointed to the role. Hello, Admiral. Good afternoon, sir. It's not often the Secretary of Defense drops by. How can I help? I'm interested in hearing more about the Iceland incident. I understand you were in command of the 6th Fleet at the time? That's correct. But I'm not sure what I can tell you. It happened nearly 30 years ago, and age hasn't improved my memory. The unredacted transcripts of my debriefing are still on file, though. I'm sure your clearance is high enough to get you access. The President recently granted me 0 black clearance, a level that doesn't exist on any official documentation. He suggested I might want to speak to you about the topic. Ah, I see. Well, it's not surprising you were unaware of 0 black. No written records of anything classified that highly are permitted beyond very specific areas. Secrecy is paramount. About what exactly? I'll get to that. First, you asked about the Iceland incident. Well, the official account is almost entirely true. The covert nuclear silos in Greenland and Iceland really existed, and there was nothing fake about the face-off between the 6th Fleet and the Soviet Northern Fleet. So what does that leave out? The alien spaceship. The... what? Construction teams working on the Icelandic silo found a wrecked alien spacecraft while mapping underground water flow. It had clearly exploded on impact and spent years being crushed by ice, so it wasn't much to look at. But it certainly wasn't human. We still don't know how the Soviets found out about it. They either picked up the radio chatter from the base, or had a KBG mole in my command staff. But almost the entire Northern Fleet was headed our way within hours. Well, that certainly turns the story on its head. And it sounds like you think the Soviets would actually have attacked us? Absolutely. For all they knew, the technology inside the spaceship would allow Americans to destroy the USSR overnight. They couldn't let us have it, even if it meant starting World War III. The White House wasn't exactly keen to compromise, of course, but they did eventually de-escalate and start negotiations. Tell me, have you ever heard the name XDEF? XDEF? No, I can't say I have. Good. As I said earlier, secrecy is paramount. The Extraterrestrial Defense Agency was the result. A joint NATO-Soviet body, established to study the alien ship and protect humanity against extraterrestrial threats. We've been hard at work ever since. I find this difficult to believe. Admiral, how could a secret organization stay hidden for 3 full decades? We hide in plain sight. Are you familiar with DARPA-X and the CIB? Of course, DARPA-X is the experimental arm of DARPA, our military research agency. The Counterintelligence Bureau is one of our domestic security agencies. That's the official story, yes. In reality, they're 2 XDEF front organizations. We use DARPA-X to distribute any scientific advances that arise from studying the UFO wreckage. The CIB arrests or discredits anyone who might expose our activities, and we covertly draw funding from both of their budgets. It's the same story in every major NATO or Soviet nation. You'd be amazed at the resources we have available, given we don't officially exist. Jesus, that actually makes a lot of sense. And you're the leader of XDEF? One of 2, yes. I represent the views of NATO. My counterpart represents those of the Soviet-aligned countries. I see. Should I expect a visit here often? I certainly hope not, Secretary. XDEF maintains a low profile, and extraterrestrial activity is currently extremely rare. Should I need to get in touch with you, well, it's unlikely to be good news. That's everything you need to know. Good luck in your new post, Secretary. And please do remember that the CIB takes the protection of all information classified Zero Black extremely seriously. So don't breathe a word of this to anyone. Understood. I appreciate your time, Admiral. And let's hope we never meet again. Interesting. That's actually pretty fun. I'm always a fan of anachronistic historical storytelling, mixing fact and fiction. It's one of the big reasons I got into Phoenix Point as much as I did, because the two lead writers, Alan Stroud and Jonas Kairatzis, they painted such an intriguing picture with their piecemeal storytelling, weaving together different real and fictional narratives to create the overarching story of the Phoenix Point setting. In this particular case, we get, of course, a much simpler narrative, but one that makes sense, one that's useful for providing narrative context for the events prior to the campaign, leading to the open-ended question of what ultimately brought down the Cleaners, which of course is one of the projects now in our queue. Though if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably pretty obvious. If they were indeed reverse engineering alien technology, my guess is they finally figured out how to activate the ship's multi-dimensional hyperdrive or communication system, something that drew the attention of the alien invading fleet, and then they just ultimately ended up becoming its first victims. Alright, lore banked, knowledge expanded. Come on, Raiders, let's get you home. Oh. Hold that thought, please. Angled towards Exo? Yeah, I think we can do that. Even if it's faster. Oh, yeah, we're good. Oh, an observer. That is new. So yet another escalation. Can we auto this one? We can. That is good to know. Though with some serious damage. You know what? Let's manual it. I would like to see how this thing flies. Oh, look at that. Right off the bat, that's already kind of interesting. It's the first alien ship that does not just take us head on. Oh, and it's juking, but also dropped some sort of projectile, despite us not being in its firing arc. And that thing is definitely course correcting. Oh shoot, how long's... Okay, there we go. Right, so it is dropping some sort of homing torpedoes, but still angled away from us. So yeah, these things are clearly intended to discourage pursuers. That is interesting, and I'm gonna have to keep it running on a slower speed, because these things actually do require some very precise maneuvers to avoid. Oh, okay, right. Yep, that's a problem. The closer we get, the harder it is to actually dodge those things, so I can definitely see how we got hammered so hard during the auto. Evasive maneuvers, Angel 4. Get out of there. Oh boy. And we're good. Nice. Okay, so the homing projectiles did shut down once the main ship dropped. And I will say, that was surprisingly tense. I wasn't a big fan of the flight game to begin with, but I really do appreciate how much effort they sort of put into changing things up with the various different ship types. If you actually do the manual fights, it is a very different experience taking on the smaller, zippier ships or the more aggressive fighters versus the giant, ponderous destroyers or the observers now, which don't seem interested in fighting at all. They're just trying to get away from you. And of course it went down in a dockyard. That's the worst place to fight an unknown threat. Tons of blind spots and cover. Alright, well, I mean, obviously we're going to go in there. We don't want to squander our first observer kill. Goodness knows we could certainly use those resources. But we've got a day, so let's do some special prep work first. Let me get a quick gander at Exo. I did somewhat prep them for combat, but that was anticipating a scout ship, not something new. Though, I mean, at the same time, we do have to send out the newer troops, too, because otherwise they'll never get better. We don't actually have training facilities at Exo yet. Let's get Phoenix back. We'll bank their cargo. Sell some stuff off, and then I'll do some quick shuffling. Oh, shoot. Right. Okay. I'll have to add more storage to our to-do list. And yes, we did pick up a new project. We picked up Rebuild Sentry Gun. Let's get a gander at that real quick. I'm guessing just a cheaper alternative to building our own from scratch. Yes, okay. So, half cost plus 1 wreckage. Which is useful, but also does make me feel better about nuking that one we encountered in the lab. It would have been nice to save 20k, but at the same time, that's less than it cost for a single recruit, so I can definitely just swallow that. I mean, we lost more money when Walren got killed. Alright, okay, nice. 1 day out. Let's push till pay drops, then I'll get new storage going. Observation, Mentark. A living Mentark is a surreal sight to behold, Commander. The subject remains entirely passive within its containment unit, patiently hovering in place while it endlessly scans the surroundings with its single large eye. Nothing has changed since the creature first arrived in my laboratory. At no point has it shown signs of anger, boredom, or discomfort. Application of an electric shock will cause it to adopt a defensive posture, but after approximately 30 seconds it will simply return to its previous position. This is not the behavior of a fully sentient life form. Indeed, the fact Mentarks are only encountered within the confines of a UFO perhaps hints at its true purpose. I suspect they are powerful biological computers, networked directly into their vessel's control systems, to assist with piloting and hyperdrive navigation. Yep. They are also formidable opponents on the battlefield. You are no doubt already aware of the power of their integrated plasma cannon, but their dexterous tentacles are also easily capable of generating enough force to break bones, as one of my less alert underlings recently discovered. As suspected, Mentarks do indeed employ a miniaturized energy shield to protect their fragile biological sections. Yet detailed scans of the shield envelope have revealed the coverage is not uniform. A number of weak spots have been identified, hopefully boosting the damage your soldiers inflict on these creatures. I see. I don't suppose we could actually reverse engineer that shield tech. Though, aside from that, yeah, it is nice to have it confirmed that these things are basically just glorified alien GPS systems. Ah, no shields. Fair enough. The lore thus far has been pretty interesting. You know, it gives you just enough to really create your speculation around. But yeah, I've generally enjoyed everything they've tossed at us thus far, lore-wise, aside from the minor disconnect between autopsies and observations. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and keep banking some of these shorter projects. We'll do mantids next, given that they're the first threat to actually legitimately claim a raider. This one's for you, Kazorm. Your death was not in vain. And then we'll do Androns after that for Walrond. That said, I also just realized I did not, in fact, initiate the transfer for those accelerated rifles. So you know what, let's go ahead and hit the pause button real quick. I'll do some general shuffling and bookkeeping. Clear up some storage space, sell off all our cleaner stuff. Get our squad prepped for a ground mission. I think we will send Exo in. Un momento, por favor. And we're back. Squad's all set, populated against my better judgment with a few of our newer hires. Good luck, guys. And also, I got the transfer going, and I sold off all of our excess cleaner stuff, which was enough to get new storage facilities going in Phoenix. We've got a little left over, but we'll just sit on that till we collect our paycheck. And there it is. 2.5 mil. Very nice. Which we will immediately use to get quantum labs going in Phoenix. That'll accelerate all of our research projects. And surgical centers in Exo, which, of course, is very much needed given our recent casualty reports. We'll also go ahead and get a hangar started at cold storage. And ultimately, I think that with cold storage and with Outpost 9, these will not become full-fledged bases, but rather they'll just be listening post / interceptor stations. We'll move retired Angels over to those stations as we start constructing newer, fancier interceptors. And then we'll also get a training center going in Exo. Oh, or maybe not. Right, okay, we need a generator. So I guess... Man, that means we're not going to have the training center running till end of month, which is also going to likewise push back our base defenses. That is less than ideal. Let's hope that doesn't come back to bite us, because I do fully suspect that observers are a precursor to aliens starting to target our bases. Here you go, guys. Don't spend them all in one place. And now we rise in with the sun at our backs, ready to observe and report. To those who are about to die, etc., etc. Though, you know, as always, maybe try to avoid that. And we've got wraiths. Okay. Dangerous, but that is a familiar threat. Is what I'd say if that thing wasn't clearly packing a plasma rifle. Plus more hit points than usual, so you know what? That is yet another alien escalation. I wonder if we've got servitors on the map this time too. Honestly, given the increased early game variety of aliens, I'm starting to feel like they actually accelerate a little too fast now. Because we've only encountered wraiths once before. At least in Milestone 4. Back in Milestone 3 they were a bit more common, but that's because you didn't have Mantids or Androns in the mix yet. Don't suppose we can tag that guy? We've got a coin toss on the snipers, so we might try our luck with them. Though at this point I am, of course, well aware of the hazards of pot-shotting. Oh, okay. That's actually not bad. Ah, yeah, fair enough. Let's get Foe Twain covered, then we'll finish carving out our landing zone here. In fact, we'll just hunker down here for the moment. There's too many blind spots all around us, plus one active threat at range. Though we will take those pot shots. Ah, though no return fire, so I think we are at least outside of his reflex range. We'll have Roman take a shot. I just want to make sure he can get back into cover after. Yeah. Alright, fair enough. Not off to a great start, but let's hope we've worked it out of our system. Hold. Civvy's on the move. Oh, armed friendly, who actually landed a hit. That pulls some pressure off us, though I can't... Yeah, I can't imagine that ended well for him. Alright, let's push up, try to get eyes back on. Target in sight, and he was indeed dinged. Looks to be down about a third. Fotwain? We'll get that shield stripped, and then hopefully we can pop him at range. Nice. I would like to try capping one of these guys if we can, but obviously it's not going to be this guy. And target down. Nicely fired, Roman. Let's finish carving out our landing zone. We've got a lot of urban cover, so we need to be very careful here. Especially with the enemies packing yet another upgrade. Though I will say, that rooftop does look pretty tempting. Might try to get Roman over there next round. We just need to make sure the street's clear first. Since obviously stacking someone up on a rooftop also makes them a prime target. Actually, we'll just have Takahashi head that way. Which honestly is probably the better move regardless. He's the less mobile of our two current snipers, so it makes more sense to get him entrenched in a good spotter position. No sound cues that time. Road seems clear on right. Check corner. How far is our edge? Just past that crosswalk, perhaps? I don't want to spread our guys out too much, but I think we can at least push the warehouse over there. Yeah. We'll use the forklift as a hopping point. I just want to get our edge pieces established before we start filling in the middle. Tally pushing up behind. Thankfully with enough points banked for one good shot. Then Merrick and Fotwain bridging the gap. Let's get a quick peek up top. Wow, okay. I mean, lots of blind spots, but no immediate threats in view. That actually makes me even more anxious because we don't know what to plan around. Okay, there's our edge on this side. So we know the alien ship is here-ish, with at least one active hostile, since we saw the shot earlier, but obviously, we're apt to encounter much more than just one. I do wonder, though, how harsh the crash roll can be. Like, is it actually possible for almost the entire crew to be wiped out on impact? Let's start pushing to regroup. We'll clear the warehouse, then get eyes on the ship. Hold. Target pinged. Left side. Now we have something to plan around. Let's see what we can do here. Could take a shot, but we'd have to stay out in the open. Clear the cover. We'll have Carpete handle that. He's out of shotgun range anyway. Just make sure we keep him behind Cyborg. Nice. How are we looking, Talk? Better. Let's strip the shield. Maybe charge in a little closer. Yeah. Shield out. Take the shot. Oh, nice. Oh man, I am very tempted to keep him alive for one more round. Go for a cap. But that could go very wrong. You know what? We'll let the RNG decide. RNG says no. Fair enough. We'll look for caps elsewhere. Honestly, easiest place to get caps will probably be the actual ship assault, since we'll have them stuck in much closer quarters. Though, if we can get one boxed in the warehouse, then that might work too. Okay, there's our edge. Essentially, we just need to get them pinned down in close quarters where we can force them to fire into our shields. Their health pools are just so deep now, though, that captures are becoming increasingly problematic. Our stun tech just isn't keeping up with it. You know, we're still running with basic stun guns and wildly unreliable stun prods. Though I have been told that there is apparently advanced stun tech, so that's something to look forward to. Oh, well that's either a Mentarch or a Servitor. We haven't actually encountered Servitors yet in Milestone 4. I mean, I'm not particularly eager to, but it would also be nice to bank that research project. Still following our edge there. We have some blind spots over there, but I think we're fine. So yeah, let's keep pushing up to regroup. There's our ship. Oh boy, look at all that clutter right in front of it. That's going to make the approach a whole lot more Oh, hey, hi there. Hello. Talk? Okay. Okay. Yeah, take the shot. I'm going to assume that missed. It's rarely a good sign when the camera embeds itself in the void. How about you, Roman? Hey, there we go. Solid tag. Fall back. We'll get him up on rooftop too. Provide oversight. The rest of our guys are way too far, so Cyborg will have to hold out one round. We'll just start moving everyone else up. I guess we'll use this building. Hey, look at that. We actually got through the window without breaking it. We're evolving. Yeah, no way we make that shot. Just hold. How about you, Faux Twain? Yeah, that's a pretty long shot. That's definitely not going to work. All right, fair enough. We'll just start pushing through the main room here towards that locker room. Should be fairly safe. But, you know, we'll hug cover just in case. Try to keep ourselves sandwiched between piles. My hope, of course, is that he'll go for Cyborg. Cyborg's the easiest target, but his shield's still in pretty solid shape. And then, depending on where it ends up, we can either go for a cap or kill. So we want to get close, but we don't want to overextend. We don't want to leave ourselves exposed. So just inside doorways where possible. That way we can just pop out next round. And then potentially bonk it into submission. Yes, nice, perfect. And he's bleeding out, which makes a potential cap slightly easier. Though the only person who's actually close enough for it is Cyborg. Though we could potentially punch out that wall. A thermal charge would not kill him, but it would drop his shield. Though it might require vaporizing that civilian corpse. So, you know, I guess apologies to their next of kin. Yeah, awkward view angles. Early on, they were planning on an 8-directional camera. Not sure why they ended up settling on just 4. Yeah, sorry. Oh, hey. That is a very durable corpse. Good to know. Alright, Cyborg. You got this, bud. Nice. Wraith Elite. Tagged and bagged. Very nice. Hopefully that'll actually net us something. Also really takes the pressure off for the impending ship assault. Since now, of course, we already have one banked. Though we do still want to keep an eye out for an officer. That is one of our current mission priorities. Yeah, just keep pushing up. Continue to converge. Also, I'm fairly certain we've lost every single civvy on the map at this point. Which is a shame, but in my defense, they all basically just rushed the alien ship. Oh, and look at that. The front door must have been destroyed on impact. That also makes our approach much... Oh, hello. Wraith Elite in sight. Talk. Yeah, no way he makes that shot. Not unless we raise that entire area. Which would be an option if we had a Mars rover with us. I do need to get some of those put together. We just don't have the funds. Also, it's kind of a shame to give up a raider slot, you know? Maybe once we get some bigger drop ships. On the bright side, all that cover does make it a lot easier to approach. Cyborg's rocking a flashbang. We can try locking it down. Yeah, that works. Oh wow, straight through 2 windows. That was quite a toss. Should be pretty clear over here, so I think we're safe. Also, I see our Mentarch. Looks like it died in the crash. Oop. Oh gosh, yep, and there's our servitor. This UFO appears to have an upper crew level. If your troops cannot locate a ladder, I suggest you check the floors for teleportation devices. Will do. Teleporters. Alien society has advanced beyond the use of stairs, and they instead use teleporters to move between vertical levels. To use a teleporter, simply move a unit onto the teleporter. Note that a teleporter will not trigger if you walk across it, only if you end your move on it. Duly noted. I will say, though, ever since I read the grand debate on whether or not Star Trek-style teleporters actually kill and recreate you every time you use one, I've had a really hard time embracing the idea of teleporter technology. Though, honestly, the more you think about Star Trek in general, the more of an existential nightmare it all kind of becomes. Anyway, I'm sure the Raiders will be fine. It probably just moves you fifth dimensionally or something without disintegrating you to your constituent materials and then recreating a new you on a separate landing pad. Man, that servitor really does complicate things here. Nice. Oh, interesting. And Wraith crew packing a plasma pistol. who very politely opened a path for us. That was nice of them. So how are we going to do this? 2 Wraiths and a Servitor. I mean, in theory, we could potentially shred this Wraith elite in front of us. That at least would trim down on the number of potential threats, but the thing is, the longer the Servitor's in there... Well, no, the Servitor's upstairs right now, so in theory, this would be a good time to push in. I think we do need to, make a move here whilst the Servitor is otherwise occupied. I mean, we'll still try to be careful. We'll hug cover where possible. Oh, wow, really? Well, that's awkward. No clear line of sight through this obvious open gap. That is unfortunate. Alright, hold off for a sec. We might have to lock this one down again. The closer we have to get, the more likely we are to get shot on approach. Yeah, that's too far. Oh, okay. There's our Wraith non-com. Possible officer? You know what? Now that we know they're both right next to each other... Slight change in plans. I wanted to rush, but... We'll just have Tally lock him. That'll give us time to bring everyone else up. Though we might end up having to deal with the Servitor. Which is fine. I mean, once we've got more firepower up there, it's much less of an issue. Front approach clear. And that should be a safe place to stand. Yeah, they'd have to shoot straight through their ship. Pushing up, pushing up. Also, side note, look at that civilian. There was no chance we were going to keep these schmucks alive. That dude ran right up to a crashed alien spaceship. I'd be annoyed, but you know, it is a classic horror trope. That aside, who's to say what any of us would do if we actually had a real alien ship crash a block from us? I mean, I would probably go check it out and then die. That's actually something I used to debate with people sometimes back when I worked at the comic and gaming shops. I ran a lot of little one-off horror games and horror tabletop board games. And I was always of the personal opinion that people were prone to underestimating something even as plain as like a zombie threat, you know? Lock him down. I think if something like that were ever to... Oh shit, there's our Servitor, already back in action. That's unfortunate. But we'll deal with it. I was always of the opinion that people took for granted just the assumption that because they were genre savvy, they would survive in a lot of those more common horror situations or scenarios. Zombies being one of the ones that people often considered the simplest. But honestly, I feel like a lot of people, myself included, would just die because we would simply refuse to believe it was really happening. You see a bunch of people shambling around in zombie outfits, you're not going to assume it's a real zombie outbreak. You're going to assume it's any one of a million other, more logical explanations. Right up until you see people actually start dying. And at that point, you're emotionally compromised. Oh, goodness. Yep, that's fine. Not unexpected. We got him in position. We bled off that reflex attack. Let's make our move. We'll just mulch this guy. Nice, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly certain that wasn't an officer. Not with that shallow a health pool. I'd wager they're generally going to be much tougher than that, possibly even tougher than the elites. That was likely a Wraith pilot or engineer or some other non-com. Now the soldier. Okay. We still have Fotwain within striking range. That would be pretty risky, though. Though, I mean, on the other hand, he is a level 0 recruit, so... I believe in you, Fotwain. You got this. He didn't got this. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you know what? That's fine. Ooh. And that puts that thing even closer to being capped. You know what? That could have been a whole lot worse. Take it out. Oh, for goodness sake. Fotwain? Nice. Yeah, door smashed. Tally, fall back. Let's get you patched. Oh man, she is super close to death. That was very close. But it worked out. And yeah, if not for the Warden armor, she would have bit it. So it was better that the Wraith went for her, at least, rather than Fotwain. Because he definitely would have died. I just got too gutsy with the rush. But, you know, it worked out, so... everything's fine forever. Minus, of course, the Servitor still in the wild, plus whatever else we might have in that upper area there. Which I'm really hoping is an officer, because then we can get the next plot project going. Though, no rush, I suppose. We've got a ton of other projects to bank before we worry about our next payday. We'll wait for the Servitor to peek back out. Hold. That's fair. That's fair. Take it out. Oh, Robobski, you're killing me, man. No, no, don't get closer. These things explode. Servitor bagged. That's one more project for Dakio. Man, so a bunch of new stuff this episode. The X-Def papers, the Sentry rebuild, the Observer, the Wraith Elite, and now Servitors. Plus, potentially, our first officer. Let's get our guys set near the pads. They'll rush next round. We'll also try to keep some points banked, just in case. Though really, the appearance of elites on the battlefield does put a lot more priority on getting those weapon upgrades done. Hold. And no need to pad it out. Breach. Two insight. Slight discrepancy in health. Lock him down. Clear the pad. Oh, shit, right. Well, guy on right is the odd man out. All the other Wraith Elite thus far have had 90. That's clearly not standard crew because he's got a plasma rifle. Prioritize capping right, kill left if need be. Soften. Yeah. Oh, for goodness sake, guys, please. Please, I beg of ye. Clear the pad. I mean, explosives would be the ideal approach here, but I don't want to blow up the cockpit. That's a lot of potential salvage. Kill left. Oh, hey, nice. Yeah, we'll take it. And focus right. We've got 4 left in the queue. Come on, guys. Stun guns might not do it. You know what? RNG. RNG says yes. Go for the cap. Target out. Wraith Officer. Fantastic. So that is yet another potential project for the pile. That's 6 new things this episode? My goodness, yeah. As much as I like making this kind of progress, it also really does kind of belabor that things do feel like they're moving a bit too quickly now in Milestone 4. They are just constantly deluging you with new projects, new enemies, new enemy upgrades. But we're managing, I mean, thus far. No casualties, a whole lot of loot. And, okay, it looks like elites don't count as something separate from normal aliens. At least not once they're captured or killed. Good to know. So no need to prioritize capturing other elites. We can kill as needed. Though, you know, obviously, they still make good sales fodder. And hey, not a bad showing for the newbies. Fotwain, Merrick, and McLeod. Awards for bravery all around. Congratulations on not dying. Let's hope that trend continues. Oh, and yet another unexpected project, Alien Electronics. So 7 new things. The Observer is an alien craft that appears to be primarily designed for research and reconnaissance purposes. Although it has similar dimensions to the Destroyer, it is significantly faster and can carry a larger crew. The hull of the Observer is split into 2 sections. The semicircular lower half contains much of the craft's interior space, and houses most of the key flight systems, the twin Millennium reactors that power the ship, the thruster arrays, and the various control consoles, plus the hyperdrive. Atop this is a smaller saucer section that contains an extensive array of sensors. These electronics are substantially more advanced than anything previously encountered, which makes it difficult to discern their exact purpose. However, it seems safe to assume that this craft is collecting vast quantities of data while airborne. In combat, the Observer poses an interesting challenge. It is fitted with almost no armor, but is fast enough that our X-25 Angels may struggle to effectively close with it, potentially allowing the weapon systems in the saucer section enough time to carve the attacking aircraft apart. Which, as we saw, it never even attempted to do. It was primarily concerned in just trying to dissuade and escape. So yeah, based on what he's telling us here, I think it's pretty safe to say these things are essentially the alien equivalent of our own radar stations. They're pinging our locations for pending alien assaults. No specifics on electronics. And there's our Alien Officer project. Yet another monthly funding boost with a very short turnaround, 3 days. That is fantastic. So between that and Cleaner Device, that's $300,000 on our next paycheck. Though also 15 days, so half the month worth of research time. Minus whatever discount we get from Quantum Labs. We'll have to plan accordingly. Alright, okay, this feels like a good place to call it. Lots of progress today. We'll hit the pause button for now. I'll take stock of our current position, figure out where the rest of our funds are going, reset our squads, and we will pick up here next time as we head into month 5. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, CrowkingLoR, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.